Good evening. Welcome back to Open Road's New Italian Cinema. My name is Antonio Mond. I have the great privilege of co-curating the series with Richard Peña. Tonight's film is The Arrival of Wang by the Manetti brothers, Marco and Antonio Manetti, who will be with us for a Q&A after the screening. I would like to mention two things. Right across the street, here at the Lincoln Center, for another 5 days, there will be a screening of a wonderful film, Corpo Celeste, by Alice Rohrwacher, which was presented here at the New York Film Festival last October. Also, I would like to say that before the screening, there will be a newsreel of Istituto Luce, which is with Cinecittà, of course, our partner in the series. So first the newsreel, then the film, and then the Q&A. Thank you, and enjoy the film.
Please welcome Antonio and Marcos Manetti. We're also pleased to have with us, We're also pleased to have with us the actor in the film, Francesca Cuttica. Let me start off. For Antonio and Marco, talk about the alien. How did you create the alien, and how do we see it?
The alien is a cartoon. It's made all in computer, and Palantir, which is the company, is an Italian special effects company that made the alien.
A little closer to the mic.
Oh, okay. Palantir is the Italian company that actually made the alien. It's a company that we share the office with. And basically we think on doing that film, on this film on their request, because they wanted to try to do something different from the usual special effects that we do in Italy. And so we kind of, together with them, we tried to put up a project and we wrote this story. And I think it's the first time that in Europe is used, is a character fully animated by computer graphics.
Yeah, it was a very long work. It was, I think, one year and a half. That is very long time for an Italian movie to do a post-production, and it was very hard, and because of it's a small company, and they did a great job.
Yeah, it's like maybe 10 people. The alien.
But during the course of the shooting, did you have a stand-in, someone who was there?
Yes, the Li Yong, which is the guy that appears in the credits, is a Chinese actor. He's not really an actor, he's a Chinese man that was sitting down in front of her wearing a green suit. So sometimes it was difficult not to laugh when we were shooting, and then at the end, the special effects guys, they would have preferred if put nobody in front of her. It would have been easier, but we refused because we said we can't ask our actors to act with nothing. So we put this guy in, and then before doing the alien, they had to cancel the guy from frame by frame.
And Francesca, what was it like for you? How good is your Chinese?
Well, hi. Actually, I do not speak Chinese. It has been very hard for me to learn the sentences of the movie. We didn't really have so much time, but I don't know. Yeah, I didn't.
She did an incredible work because she just learn all the sentences just by memory, just the sound of it. And the Li Yong, the actor that was in front of her, he was amazing because amazed because Francesca, for him,
was speaking Chinese.
Yes, speaks Chinese. He cannot believe the first day, but then he realized.
There's a story behind that. It's like, I think that story. Okay, we chose Francesca for many reasons. We made after that, 2 more films with her. So, okay, it's not just that. But when she came for the casting, the Chinese actor was already casted. So we thought that we should try the actress to act in Chinese. So she came. We gave her a paper, I think, with a Chinese word written like Italian-like, you know. So she.
I think it was the first scene of the movie, actually.
Yeah, the first scene of the movie, and she came to do the casting, and the Chinese guy. She was actually the first person we casted. So the Chinese guy sat there. You know, he doesn't speak perfectly Italian, so he wasn't aware exactly what was going on around. And she did the casting, acting in Chinese. Then she went out, and me and Antonio we were talking. And by the talk of me and Antonio, the guy realized that we were saying that she doesn't speak Chinese. So the guy stopped everything. Say, "Are you guys trying to tell me that this girl doesn't speak Chinese?" We say, "No, she doesn't speak Chinese. She just learned the word in memory." And he said, "Genius."
I paid it before the cast, you know, obviously. But the funny thing is that for an actor, or at least for me, it's really
we have a translator here. So.
I don't even know the word in Italian, but I mean it's. Speaking in a language that you don't know actually kind of free you. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but you know, it has been really interesting, and the challenge was high, but I learned a lot, and it was even more interesting. I mean, it was cool.
Can you talk about the place of a film like this within Italy? As you sort of mentioned before, it's not in a certain way a typical Italian film. It makes use of genre and things like that. How has the film been received? And again, think about it in terms of Italian production.
Well, yes, for us, generally, not just for this film, for me and Antonio, it's particularly hard to work in Italy because we kind of insist on doing our kind of movies that are not exactly the kind of movies that are done in Italy. We at one point we stopped and we did some TV series, and let's say we became more famous, but even that, you know, they didn't want to do our kind of movies. So after our big TV series, we decided to finance our find finances for our movies ourselves, and we made these particular movies. And the reception was a little bit difficult. I have to say that this movie is going around the world and is having great receptions everywhere. And maybe its life is a little bit stronger abroad than in Italy. In Italy, we had a great critical acclaim, but we didn't have a great audience because it's difficult to explain, because maybe it sounds strange here, but distributors, when they hear it's a science fiction movie, they think it's a totally uncommercial thing, and so they distributed it in a very limited way.
Mm. Okay, let's get some questions from you. Yes.
I'm kind of curious, or I'd like you to comment a little bit on your worldview or your planetary view, because near the end of the movie, you just felt, because all our sympathies were with Francesca, and for the outcome, it was just like a big punch in the gut.
Can you talk about the great sort of story reversal? I mean, for 95% of the film, we feel sorry for this guy, and then the last 5 minutes, suddenly he really is a monster.
Yes, of course, it's a very long topic. It's very difficult to explain exactly our vision of the world. I think maybe there's only one thing I can say now. I don't know if it's enough for you. It's like some people, it's okay, you know, when you do a movie, it's okay that the movie is open to different interpretation. So it's okay. I don't have difficulty with that. But I think there's a misunderstanding that somebody thinks that we are saying something social. Instead, I think we are saying something psychological. And we are not stating that, I don't know, guys coming from far away, they are bad. We are not stating that torture is good. Like, we are just stating that everything can be different on how you see it at first glance. So I think if there's a message in the movie, the message is, before you judge things, you have to watch them well. And you have to know people personally to decide if they are good or bad. And maybe one other thing is, like, we think that every prejudice is a prejudice. Also, the prejudice of a liberal translator against a cop, even that is a prejudice, because every cop is a man, and you have to know his reasons before judging him. I don't know if it's enough for you. But
Gaia, Francesca, how did you feel about Gaia? How did you feel about your character?
Yeah, the nice thing about her is exactly that, she's so sure about herself, so sure about her thoughts, and she's so young, you know, and it's hard to understand the world when you are at such a young age. And she's kind of arrogant, selfish too. And this is something that I see a lot between my friends. I don't know, about my age people. We really want to say that we know everything, you know. So that was really interesting, because you have to, of course, you know that she's gonna be called an idiot, and she's totally wrong. But so it's nice to work on a character that she's so lost in her sicurezze, in her securities, and yeah, and that was really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yes, in the back there.
I was wondering, do you any American films for your inspiration? Some of the classics that have similar themes: War of the Worlds, The Day the Earth Stood Still, and the famous Twilight Zone episode "Serve Man," which basically has a kind of very similar surprise ending. Did any of these inspire you?
Any American influences on your?
No, not. I think when we have a lot of influence, of course, because we watched a lot of films, and especially Americans. So I think we took something, of course, but we don't. With this story, we just wrote it without any ideas, without any influence, and I think that maybe with the Palantir Digital, the special effects guys team, maybe they take something from so you can recognize maybe something very similar to the come si chiama, la guerra dei mondi?
War of the Worlds.
Yeah. But the theme was just something we just thought that without any no.
Yes, I think it's on the same line that what Antonio is saying. I think there's a difference between inspiration and quoting, because inspiration, I think maybe you can see our inspiration better than us. Of course, we saw a lot of science fiction movies in our life. So when you write a science fiction film, I think science fiction movies that you saw, they will enter your ideas, even if you don't know. There's no quotation. We didn't sit down. Is a quotation a right word I use? We didn't sit down and say, let's make a movie like The War of the War, or like, you know. Even because I think that writing and preparing this movie, I think we in our mind, this is much more a spy thriller than a science fiction movie. It's a spy thriller where the foreigner spy is an alien, but it's constructed like a spy thriller. So maybe we had a little bit more in our mind some Hitchcock movies or some spy stories. But of course, science fiction movies run in our blood, and we name Alien a lot when we were shooting. But for example, not because of the alien, we were naming Alien mostly because of a woman that appears a little bit defenseless at the beginning, and then she becomes strong. So Alien is an inspiration, but not because of science fiction.
Let's see. Yes, ma'am, over here. Why Rome? Yeah, why Rome? Why
Because
did
we
you-
live there.
Because we live in Rome.
Just for that.
You know, it's strange because you're not the first one to ask us this question, but I wouldn't expect it, honestly, that somebody would ask us in New York, because science fiction movies are mostly American, as the gentleman was saying before. So all around the world, they ask us, why? Did anybody ask itself why the War of the World with Tom Cruise is in New York? Nobody asked why. And I think, do you think aliens, they have a navigator that carries them always to USA?
They always come here.
Why? And we had this question, and they told me that there's another Italian director that he was asked if he would ever make a science fiction movie, and he said, they told me that he answered, but it would be ridiculous for aliens to land in Rome. And I don't know why. It's something, it's a twist of our mind. So even we are lovers of American cinema, but I want to say that Americans didn't buy the copyright of Alien Invasion. They didn't buy the copyright of Special Powers. They didn't buy the copyright of fantasy. The fantasy is for everybody, and there's something wrong going on in the world that every other country is like they think they can do only realistic movies, and I don't know why.
I think it's a great idea that aliens speak Chinese. I thought that was pretty good. Yes.
Tell us about why the new immigrant landed or chose another immigrant's house.
Why
Okay.
in fact, did they... All right, you can hear the question. Yeah.
Okay. Wang is not an immigrant. He's a spy from another state. The house he chose is the house of an immigrant, yes, but he's not an immigrant. And for me, it's very important to state that he is not. Nobody, when we were doing movies in the 80s about Russian spies, nobody was seeing Russian spies as immigrants, for example, or Nazi spies. It's just a spy. Instead, the immigrant, yes, it's like there's not a particular reason. One of the reasons is the actress is my wife, so it was. it was.
It's a story,
No,
there's
there's
a reason
yeah,
for them.
There's a reason. The reason is a little bit unexplained, but is said at the beginning of the movie. It's like she's an, how do you say it here, illegal alien? Mm-hmm. She's an illegal alien. So when from the space, the extraterrestrials, they were seeing a place where to land, they saw the papers. And that place was inhabited for them because she's illegal. So he thought the place was empty, instead one person was living there. So that's why he fell there.
Yes, all the way in the back there. Question is, given all the sort of psychological tension that's in the film, why this viewer asked, did you end it in what she thinks is a typical Hollywood fashion when, in fact, in the last 15, 20 years, in the United States, of course, there's been a lot of rumor and whatever about the U.S. government's knowledge of, aliens and, flying saucers and things like that.
I don't understand if she's talking in a cinematographic way.
Well, I think she's wondering why you chose what she thinks is a traditional Hollywood ending, okay. Aliens invade.
What I want to understand is storyline terms or just effects?
I think in storyline terms, yeah. Yeah, storyline terms.
Okay, storyline terms is just, the story is like that. Story is of an alien that seems to a protagonist to be so good because actually he's a cheater, And while they are in this base, in this, I don't know what it is, in this secret base with, you know, soundproof kind of place, they are doing all their sentimental stuff, and the war invasion is coming outside. So that's the storyline. We didn't think of Hollywood. I repeat again, it's not American, it's alien invasion there, if, you know. Instead, in a cinematographic line, I would say that I don't think it's Hollywoodian, if you felt that, because we told a spaceship invasion, but it's just seen from a window. So we thought it's really how a common person would see an alien invasion, in fact. We don't go inside spaceships, we don't see the pilots, we don't see...
Ha chiesto che vediamo il quartier generale con i militari. Ha chiesto il quartier generale con i militari. Quindi perché avete messo voi il quartier generale?
Why do we see the army, guys?
No, I think it's really just that, you know, it ends with an alien invasion, and I think she said that before that, the film had a lot of psychological nuance
I
and whatever.
think it is a psychological movie, and what happens at the end is just we are showing the truth. So the psychological game makes sense. You understand why, and you know, I don't have, maybe we should have thought another way how the alien could invade planet Earth, but it didn't come to our mind. There are, I don't want to say much about what you know, but there are many people trying to write stories on a possible development of this film. And one of these guys came out with the idea, which maybe is interesting, but didn't come to us, that maybe the aliens are, the Wang actually came here and he laid eggs of alien beneath the surface. And what he was doing with that gizmo he has in his hand was to break the eggs and make the alien army come out from underground. I think it's a great idea, but we just didn't have it. Maybe it would sound less War of the World, but...
So you were telling me actually yesterday there's a chance that there might be an American version?
There might be.
Anyway, I'm afraid that's all we have time for. I want to thank the Manetti brothers and Francesca very much
Thank you.
for the film. And thank you very much for coming as well.